track in the marathon is really just fun because you've doled out your energy well for the whole race, and so really that last 385 yards, very seldom does the race come down to the end. So right there at the end, you're thinking that all your training was worthwhile, that the focus was worth it, and just how you kind of oriented your lifestyle to put in the training you needed to do was all worth it. And I can speak to that because I've been also in the Olympics in the 10,000 meters, and I happened to run the 10,000-meter final in the Olympic Games about 8 days before I ran the marathon, and I finished fifth in that final. And I really had some second thoughts as to whether or not all the effort I put into getting ready for the Olympics was worth it. But then 8 days later, when I was running on the track in the last lap, I really realized that it was. So I was lucky.
Okay, Billy, you're driving around Washington, D.C. Go ahead, you're with Frank.
First of all, I'd like to commend the program. How rare for Sports Talk to have someone like Frank Shorter here. It's fantastic. I would like to ask, though, I've just started running after a long layoff, and I kind of peaked. Do you have any tips? Do you have anything that would kind of boost my performance a little bit?
Yeah, what generally happens is that if you've been running for quite a while, if you've been running, have you been running for a year or so, or more than that?
About a year and a half after about a 10-year layoff after college.
Well, what happens is you run aerobically, meaning you can carry on a conversation.
Right. And
it's only at about 60% of your maximum effort. And that's the way you should run to get in shape. And in fact, it's more efficient to run that way than it is to run at 80 or 90% effort. Your cardiovascular system develops more efficiently that way. But what happens after about a year, because you've been so consistent, you actually level off in your condition. Your cardiovascular system's about in as good a shape as it's going to get. Then to improve your racing, you do what the Olympic athletes do, which only comprises about 10% of your total running. You go to a track and run repetitions around a track. We call this interval training, where you go hard for 400 meters, jog easy for 400, or go to a hill and run up the hill hard and jog down the hill. And by putting yourself into an anaerobic state where you can't talk to somebody and your body is really needing oxygen and then recovering, you increase what's called your anaerobic threshold, meaning you improve your state of equilibrium, that point at which you're just about to go over the edge and not be able to take in enough oxygen. But since you're in such good shape by running the way you should have to get in shape, you've kind of leveled off, and you put it precisely, you leveled off. Now you have to, what you do is you find a club. Pretty much any area has a Tuesday evening interval club in the community where everybody meets on Tuesday nights or Wednesday nights, and they do this kind of training at the track. And I advise you to get into that social situation and do some of that training, and then your racing will improve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Billy, for the call. Akron, Ohio. Tim.
Yeah, I'd like to commend the program, too. Frank, I've run a couple marathons, and unlike the previous caller, I'd like to improve my performance. What times do you eat, say, when you're in training, and how much? And because I know you said you run on glycogen or whatever.
Glycogen, yeah.
Yeah, for after 22 miles or whatever. So if you
well, the diet is just the four basic food groups, or the diet pyramid, or whatever people want to call it. I think if you're training hard, you have a certain margin for error. You don't have to be really obsessive about your diet, but you have to make sure you get something from all the food groups all day long. You'll find also if you're training hard, you may have to kind of vary the routine of when you get these different nutrients in. For example, I eat mostly grains and breads at breakfast, and the same for lunch with maybe a little protein, and basically my biggest meal of the day comes after I'm done training, because you can't have all this in you when you're trying to train. And so I eat pretty much from the evening dinner on. And that way I get all the food I need in me, but I do it kind of at different times. Now, there's also a reward to this, because I eat dinner about 5:30, 6 o'clock, but when I get done talking here, I get to go down to the kitchen, and I go in there, and anything I want is mine. I mean, it's fair game, and that's because I feel, you got to reward yourself, and I feel that I've been a good boy all day. I've done my training. I've been careful about my diet. Man, I can go in there and eat whatever I want. And so, that's really it. And if you do that in conjunction with some of this interval training I talked about, you'll also get into a cycle just naturally of where you're able to keep more of these sugars that you need to run the marathon in your body. It'll just naturally develop as part of your training program. You really don't have to worry about it.
Okay, off to Detroit we go. Steve, good to have you with us on Sports Byline.
Yeah, Frank?
Yeah.
I run cross country for my high school, and I have problems in the last 400. I just, I die. I run out of energy. Do you have any tips for me?
Well, I think the point there is, one, you're young, and the advantage you have is that you're just going to get better because you're going to grow up and get older, and you'll get stronger. And very often in high school, the last 400 may not even be so much a matter of conditioning as just strength. And I can speak to that because I'm what you would term a late mature. When I was in high school, I really didn't get good on the high school level until I was pretty much, at least in terms of winning league championships and things like that, until I was a senior. And then, again, when I was in college, I really didn't start to get good until the last part of my senior year. And probably physically, I didn't mature until I was 23 or 24. And so I think it's more a question, you got to have faith and keep training, and as your physical strength develops, then you'll be able to hold on in the last 400 meters. Because generally, if you're in good shape, the sprint is really a matter of strength rather than conditioning.
What about the danger signals? Because I guess there's a very thin line, is there not, Frank, from being able to know what your body can do and pushing it beyond that point?
Yeah, but the nice thing about being young and a kid is that most kids are self-limiting, and they will back off before they really hurt themselves. So as long as the caller is running because he wants to, and no one's pushing him and no one's forcing him to train any more than he really wants to, then he'll be fine. I mean, his natural mechanisms will set in and he'll be okay. And really, you're in much more danger if you're not in good condition than you are if you've been running for a while and you're in pretty good condition, because what happens is what we've talked about before, you simply go into this state of oxygen debt where you're not getting enough oxygen, and you can't go more than 3 minutes in that fashion, and you just stop. That's it. You can't go anymore.
1-800-878-7529 to join us on Sports Byline with Frank Shorter, like Tim is in Cortland, New York. Go ahead, Timmy.
Hey, Frank, I wanted to ask you how many days does it take to, recover your glycogen stores after a marathon?
Well, generally, there's an old coach's adage that they used even before they began research on this kind of stuff, and my old coach in college told me that for every mile that you race, you have to go relatively easy in training for about 1 day after. And if you think about it, a marathon, it takes you just about a month to recover. And so for things to really be all back to normal, it's about a month of relatively easy training. What you do is you go back into your same training routine, but you scale it back perhaps by 70% the first week, and 40% the second week, and 30% the third week, and maybe 10% the fourth week, and then you go right back into your routine. And that's how you recover. And again, you do that, and you kind of listen to your body a little bit, you don't have any problems.
Okay, Jimmy, Erie, Pennsylvania.
Hey, Frank.
Yeah.
I got 2 questions for you, and I'll hang up and listen to your response. First of all, I'd like to know if you get the what's called the stitch in the side when you're running, and if you don't, what do you do to eliminate it? And the second thing I'd like to ask you is for a second wind. I know that runners go through what they call a second wind when your body adjusts, but when you run a marathon, do you get more than 1 second wind?
Good question, Jim.
Yeah. Good. The stitch is what, again, any runner who's run in high school has probably experienced. And part of it, I think, is diet-related in that you have to learn what kind of food you can eat and how long before the race. Generally, I think when you're starting out, give it a good 3 hours before after you eat, before you race. And then you find maybe you can go 2 hours after eating before you run, and what kind of foods. And so I think a lot of it has to do with that. The other may be have something to do with what I found causes my stitches, and that has to do within a race. If you go out too fast at the start and really go, we keep talking about oxygen debt, if you really go in over your head, and this pertains to the second question, by the way, you get way into oxygen debt and you find you really have to slow down in order to recover from going out too fast. Whenever I would do this and the amount that I had to slow down was extreme, then suddenly I would cramp. And I think it had mostly to do with the fact that I was straining to go too fast, and then when I would back off and try to relax, something would happen and I would cramp up. So the second way to possibly avoid that is maybe not go out so fast in your races. The other question that had to do with second wind really has to do, I feel, with conditioning. In other words, think about, again, this idea of oxygen debt, because that's really what running is. I mean, what being able to run for a marathon means that you can go along at a faster pace for longer than other people. It's not that you're faster, it's just that this threshold, sort of the cliff that you're going to fall off, as it were, is further down the road for you. And what happens with people who get a second wind, I think, is they run over their heads, they go severely into this oxygen debt, then they have to slow down significantly. And then once they've slowed down significantly, if they're at all trained, their bodies recover. And then they feel, oh, I have my second wind, I can go on again. That's really what the second wind is. And the way what you do when you're in a marathon is you try to reduce that extreme. In other words, you do go through points in the marathon where you feel bad and then you feel good again, and you feel bad and you feel good again. But what you're trying to do is make it so that the difference between the feeling good and feeling bad isn't so great. So it's not really a second wind.
Okay, Jeff, you're in Providence, Rhode Island. We got about 90 seconds. A quick question, please.
Yeah, Frank, I'm an old-timer. In fact, I was in your physics class in college. I wanted to ask you about the 76 Olympics. My recollection is you won the silver medal in Montreal, and an East German won the gold medal. And I was wondering if you had any thoughts on whether he was using steroids.
About a minute, Frank.
Well, interesting question, because I heard word, I haven't really seen much in print, that the Stasi files on all the East German athletes who were using drugs have been kind of discovered. And so I guess I won't answer it. I'll just wait to see. My next question is, are you going to the reunion?
Yeah. He's not with us right now, but...
But if he was in my senior physics class, I was a pre-med, and that was senior physics, and I was on my way to med school. And this fellow was the same. I'm sorry he didn't leave his name. Maybe I'll see him in 2 months when I'm back at my, believe it or not, oh my goodness, 25th college reunion.
Have you changed your thoughts? I mean, I know you're involved with biathlons now. Do you have to change as you get a little bit older, the way you compete and what you can compete in?
Oh, sure. I have a 20 mile a day urge to run and about a 10 mile a day body at this point. and so that's what I do. And I make up the difference by riding the bicycle. And since I ride the bicycle so much, I figure, what the heck, I might as well race on it.
Well, I'll tell you what, you can go ahead and find that refrigerator, open it up, and anything that's in there belongs to you, Frank.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
and come
you.
back and visit with us again, Frank.
Okay.
Frank Shorter, who in 1972 won the gold medal in the marathon. That was in Munich, and of course he followed it up in 1976 with the silver medal in the Montreal Games. Very fascinating, because I find people that are into individual sports really have to have a certain discipline, and it's so totally different from what you get in the team concept. Take a break, check the numbers, come back on the other side, continue with you on Sports Byline.
Attention business owners, now is the perfect time to start saving money on your cable TV bill for your business. We can give you packages with up to 90 great channels and save your business a ton of cash. And if you call right now, you can learn how to get free equipment and free installation. Now you have choices. It's time to start saving money on your cable TV bill for your business. And call today and get 90 channels plus free equipment and free installation. Smart business owners like you all across the country are consolidating and saving money on their cable TV, internet, and phone service for the business. So now's the perfect time. This may be a limited time offer to the first 100 people that call right now, so please save money and call now.
800-470-7113. 800-470-7113. 800-470-7113. That's 800-470-7113.
At 28, I had struggled with opiate and meth addiction for 12 years. I did and said things that the sober me never would have done. One day I realized I was not invincible. I was not exempt. And that's when a friend told me about Elite Rehab Placement. They gave me the tools I needed to get sober, and all it took was the one phone call.
Elite Rehab can help you start to break your addiction problem and get sober in as little as 7 days. And we'll work with your insurance provider to help cover the costs. Plus, we have travel assistance programs to get you here by plane or train. Make this free call right now to learn more. 800-403-5912. 800-403-5912. 800-403-5912. That's 800-403-5912.
Imagine this is your money and someone wants to take it from you. Who is it? The IRS. They want your money, and guess what? They can legally take it, all of it if they want. Remember, they sent you that letter that said, hey, you owe us a bunch of cash and we're going to take it from you. So what do? Fight back by letting our team of experts at the tax helpline work it out with the IRS so you can keep your money. And we're good at what we do. When you hire us, you get a team of guys on your side that know the IRS laws and will fight to save your money. So if you owe the IRS a ton of cash and you want to keep it, call right now and learn for free how we can help you put it back in your pocket.
800-932-1749. 800-932-1749. 800-932-1749. That's 800-932-1749.
This is America's Sports Talk Show, Sports Byline USA. Here's Ron Barr.
Another look at the numbers in the American League. Yankees blank Boston 8-zip. Pittsburgh 5-3 over Detroit thanks to Marte's ninth inning home run to win it. Baltimore falls to Tampa Bay 4-2. Glasnow allowed 2 hits over 7 innings in winning his 4th straight start. Toronto edged Minnesota 6-5. Hernandez 7th inning 2-run single, the game winner. Texas blanked the Angels 5-0. Minor goes the distance on a 3-hitter, and the White Sox 5-1 over Kansas City. On the National League side, Phil's booted the ball, or I should say the Mets booted the ball 4 times. Philadelphia wins it easily 14-3. Giants come from behind to down Washington 7-3, and the Cubs blank Miami, who now fall to 4-14, 7-0. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, say goodbye to Tampa Bay and say goodbye to Pittsburgh. Columbus finishes off the sweep by beating the Tampa Bay Ball Club, or I should say hockey team, 7-3. And also the Isles sweep their series by downing Pittsburgh. That final was 3-1. And in the NBA, Toronto cruises to a 111-82 win over Orlando, so they're up in their series now 2-0. And that's your sports update.
We love watching sports, but these days it's nearly impossible to catch all the best moments of your favorite games. Now with the new Sport Flip app, you can receive real-time, customized notifications so you know when your games are back after a commercial break, period change, or rain delay. Download Sport Flip from the App Store today and watch more sports.
I told you it was going to be an interesting hour, and indeed it was. Frank Shorter with us, American former distance runner who won the gold medal in the marathon at the 72 Olympics and the silver medal at the 76 Olympic Games, and of course won the U.S. National Cross Country Championships 4 times, inducted into the United States Olympic Hall of Fame and the USA National Track and Field Hall of Fame. And we shared with you an interview out of our library. He passed away in 2018, but left his mark on professional wrestling, Bruno Sammartino. Be sure to stick around. Dabo Swinney of Clemson, who has won 2 national football championships in the last 3 years. He'll be joining us, and we'll talk with former pitcher for the Pirates, Steve Blass. I'm Ron Barr. Thanks for being a part of America's Sports Talk Show.
My name is Pedro Fernandez. I am the reigning, the defending, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the radio race. We're talking combat sports Saturdays and Sundays, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Join me for Ring Talk live worldwide on Sports Byline.
USA Radio News with Wendy King.
French President Emmanuel Macron has promised that the fire-ravaged Notre Dame Cathedral will be rebuilt. The damage is extensive, but the outer structure is largely intact.
You're listening to the Heartland Newsfeed Radio Network, broadcasting live 24/7 at heartlandnewsfeed.com.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,285. Silver at $14.94, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,085. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, a group dedicated to regime change in Venezuela held a secret meeting last week focused on overthrowing the country's government. That's according to a report from Activist Post, citing a report from the Gray Zone Project. Journalist Max Blumenthal Sunday revealed a list of meeting attendees he obtained over the weekend from a source. The list shows that the event, held at the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington, D.C., boasted as attendees members of the State Department, the Colombian and Brazilian embassies, members of the Venezuelan opposition, and other officials in the American national security state. The meeting comes after multiple failed attempts to depose the government of President Nicolas Maduro, who was elected in 2018. The President Donald Trump administration has made no secret of their intent to see Maduro gone, but thus far, nothing has worked. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. The world was transfixed Monday on horrific images of Paris's Notre Dame Cathedral engulfed in flames as they were broadcast across social media. Global news outlets in nearly every country were live streaming the devastating fire across platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. The Mind Unleashed reports that those watching the live stream broadcast on YouTube saw something strange. An excerpt from an Encyclopedia Britannica entry regarding the World Trade Center bombing on September 11, 2001, accompanying the footage. And while the text box may seem like a complete non sequitur, it was actually a disclaimer meant to discourage the spread of what YouTube's algorithms mistakenly flagged as a conspiracy theory or fake news video. As it turned out, the columns of smoke rising from the Gothic Cathedral bore a startling resemblance to those of 9/11, and YouTube's anti-conspiracy software was quick to kick into gear. The text boxes were introduced to YouTube last year as a new tool that would lead to a cessation of fake news videos going viral on the platform. A police officer from the Bossier City, Louisiana Police Department was arrested in December for filming unspeakable acts with animals. 38-year-old Terry Yetman was charged with multiple counts of sexual abuse of animals, producing the evidence himself, including filming sex with his own police canine. Now, the decorated cop has also been charged with 31 counts of child pornography. The Free Thought Project over the weekend learned that Yetman, who had only been out on bail for 2 days for the 40 counts of animal abuse charges, was taken into custody again and charged with 31 counts of possession of pornography involving juveniles. According to WAFB, Yetman's bond is currently set at $620,000. Additional charges could be filed. According to the Louisiana State Police, Yetman was originally arrested on December 19th and charged with 20 counts of sexual abuse of animals by performing sexual acts with an animal, and 20 counts of filming sexual acts with an animal. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, Spread liberty with a smile.
Tips at a fraction of the price of cable TV. So say adios, arrivederci, goodbye to the high cable bill and save up to 45% on Dish TV packages today. These are limited time offers and can change at any time. Call fast. 800-405-2561. 800-405-2561. 800-405-2561. That's 800-405-2561.
Live, worldwide, Sports Byline USA. And here's host, Ron Barr.
And glad you can hang around for another hour of this edition of Sports Byline. We got a good hour for you. I'll tell you what's coming up in just a second. But let me tell you about the next Sports Byline. Oliver Luck. You remember that name from the NFL, quarterback and his son. He has a son playing for Indianapolis, the Colts. And he is now the commissioner of the XFL. Now, we know what happened to the AAF. It went out of business midway through the season. But Vince McMahon is back at it, trying to have a football league. And I think they're doing it the right way. And the commissioner is Oliver Luck, so we will talk to him about their progress, get his thoughts also on why he thinks the AAF failed. And also, he's suggested a couple of things about not having a play sent into a huddle. Luck's suggestion is that they just send it in to players who are outfitted in their helmets so that they can hear the play and don't have to go into a huddle to hear it from the quarterback. We'll also talk about women's soccer. Of course, we got the Women's World Cup coming up in June and July. And Gemma Clark, who is a British sports writer covering soccer, and she's a good one too, has a book out called Sports Women. And we'll talk about that. And then I see we'll talk some basketball with Dawn Staley. John Starks will be here to do the same thing. Cedric Sabalas will drop by to talk basketball, and we'll just top it off with Chet Walker. So all of that coming your way on Sports Byline. Some bad news for the Golden State Warriors. Not only did they lose Game 2 after they led by 31 points in the third quarter, they also, of course, suffered a serious injury to DeMarcus Cousins. He suffered an apparent quad injury when he dove for a loose ball, and it looks like today from all the reports that he has been diagnosed with a torn left quad, and that means he is lost for the rest of the playoffs. I feel badly for him because he was coming back from a very serious injury already. We're going to talk some baseball in just a second. For 60 seasons, Steve Blass has been a part of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization as both a pitcher and a broadcaster, and he has announced his retirement, so we're going to reminisce with him a little bit. He pitched for 10 seasons for the Pirates, won the 1971 World Series, beating the Orioles in the seventh and deciding game 2-1 on a four-hitter. And in that 71 series, he threw 2 complete game wins, only allowing 7 hits and 2 runs in 18 innings. And then after that, Dabo Swinney. Do I need to say anything else? He is the head coach of the 2-time national champion Clemson Tigers. So we're ready to crank it up. Good to have you with us. Again, Steve Blass next on Sports Byline.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 4422 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 4422. Code 4422. Enjoy.
What's in store for your business this week at Staples?
Your promotion to CIO, Chief Ink Officer.
Because this week at Staples, when you buy 1 HP ink cartridge, you'll get a second 30% off.
With savings that big, you'll be the Director of Deals, the President of Printing, the Commander Ink Chief.
Buy 1 HP ink and get a second 30% off. Right now at Staples.
Where there's a whole lot in store.
Ends 4/13/19. Restrictions may apply. See store associate or staples.com/ink savings for details. Let's have a chat about your debit card, the card you use for the things you buy every day. What if you could get cash back every time you bought those things? Well, now you can. Introducing Discover Cashback Debit. Just open a Discover bank account and start earning 1% cash back on up to $3,000 in debit card purchases every month, automatically. Plus, there are no monthly fees or minimum balances. Now you can get cash back on the way you like to pay. Open a Discover bank account and get the debit card with cash back. Go to discoverbank.com/debit. Limitations apply. Excludes money market accounts. Discover Bank, member FDIC. Lowe's knows you're the gardener who does it right to make your flower and vegetable plants thrive. We do it right, too, with deals like 5 bags of Miracle Grow all-purpose garden soil for just $10 during our Spring Black Friday sale. Grow delicious vegetables and herbs and save on Bonnie plants, now 4 for $10. Find Spring Black Friday savings like these throughout the store, but hurry because they won't last long. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid through 4/17, not valid in Alaska or Hawaii. Bonnie offer valid on 19-ounce pots. See store for details, U.S. only.
Trade pros. Whether you specialize in service or new construction, Ferguson knows firsthand how much work goes into a long day on the job, which is why we're committed to offering the products and solutions to get every job done right. With over 1,000 locations, an unmatched selection of specialty products, tools, and supplies, our pro pickup and same or next day delivery, you can trust that doing business with Ferguson will be the easiest part of your hard day's work. Visit Ferguson.com to find a counter location near you.
This is America's Sports Talk Show, Sports Byline USA. Here's Ron Barr.
Steve Blass joins us on Sports Byline. For 60 seasons, Steve has been a part of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization as a pitcher and broadcaster. He announced that he's retiring, saying, 60 seasons with the Pirates, one organization in one city. I am so proud of that. It ranks right up there with anything I've ever done on the baseball field. It has been a wonderful run. He pitched 10 seasons for the Pirates, won the 1971 World Series, beating the Orioles in the 7th and deciding game 2-1 on a 4-hitter. And in that 71 series, he threw 2 complete game wins, only allowing 7 hits and 2 runs in 18 innings. And then after he retired, he joined the Pirates broadcast team in 1983, and he has been there ever since. You know, I know about ball players deciding to retire. It might be their body that tells them to. It might be their mind. It might be that they can't hit a breaking pitch or anything. But for somebody that's been doing what you've been doing, not only as a baseball player, Steve, but as a broadcaster, how did you come up with the decision to retire?
Well, a lot of things go into that, Ron, when you've been around a long time. By the way, so proud to have had all my baseball business with one organization. That means a lot. People move around so much now, justifiably so. But to have signed as an 18-year-old in 1960 and having the Pirates give me a chance to live my dream, which I continue to live every time I go to the ballpark, I'm very, very proud of that. And so getting back to the retirement decision, Karen and I have been thinking about it for a couple of years, and people have been telling me who are retired, you think about it, and then when the time is right, you do pull the trigger. And I kid around with my buddies, Ron, saying, you know what? They're finally starting to catch on to me. I better get out while I can. But all those things go into it. I've been married to this lady for 55 years plus 4 years of bad behavior in high school. So Karen and I have been together so many years, and I think it's time that I start to catch up with my life and maybe perhaps not being too melodramatic, catch up with my wife for all the sacrifices and all the things and all the ways she stood behind me, the good times and a few of the bad times. So it's time for so many reasons, not the least of which is to catch up with this lady.
You know, Steve, there are certain iconic organizations, and I certainly put Pittsburgh in that category. You know, the Cincinnati Reds, when they started playing baseball, Pittsburgh and everything. Can you help me explain to people what makes the Pirates organization so iconic over that 60 years you've been with them?
Well, when I signed back in 1960, of course, I picked a good year. They won the World Series that year, but it's kind of a blue collar, if you will, loyalist type of a town. And I think I'm a Steeler and a Penguins fan, But I think long before they got really, really viable, this was an extremely great baseball city. And we're reminded that every once in a while, with the World's Championships in 71 and 79, and also the kind of a iconic situation in 2013 when we won a playoff game against the Cincinnati Reds, and everybody, it seemed like everybody in Pittsburgh was at the ballpark. They had a blackout. Everybody wore black. And for whatever reason, Johnny Cueto dropped the ball at the mound, and people got excited. On the next pitch, Russell Martin hit a home run. So the place went crazy. I don't know if I've seen a more energized atmosphere around a sporting event than I saw in 2013 in that very game. And it reminds me how good a baseball city that Pittsburgh really is. So it goes way back to the Honus Wagners and the Pie Trainers and the Mazes and Clemente Stargills. So maybe that doesn't explain it well enough, but as I have seen it over the years, Pittsburgh is just a great baseball city, and it's like every other city. It rewards a winner, and it comes out and supports it. So that's the kind of world we're in now, but every once in a while we get a reminder how great a baseball town that Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania really is.
Well, let's go back a little bit and talk about that history of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I was a kid that would visit my grandparents in Parkersburg, West Virginia, and during the course of the summer, we would take a weekend trip to Cincinnati to see the Reds, and another weekend we would take a trip to Pittsburgh to watch the Pirates. Now, my first introduction to Forbes Field was that outfield was probably, as Joe Graggiola told me one time, it was a $10 cab ride. Tell me about that stadium.
Well, the thing was Forbes Field. It was 457 to center. And they had the batting cage in play in front of the wall, the 457 sign, and a flagpole. It was never a problem. It was so far out. We used to lose Matty Alou in the twilight every once in a while, standing out there because he wasn't the biggest guy. And how about the 365 down the left field line? But you had to hit it over a very high scoreboard in the clock to get it out of there. 436 to left center, 406 to an area between left field, the pole, and the 436 line. So it was huge. 300 feet down the right field line, but you had to hit it over a screen. And it was just a barnyard. It was so great to pitch there because it was acreage, and guys could go get the ball. I gave up, I know, 3 fly balls in one game to Darren Johnson of the Cincinnati Reds, but Matty Alou caught 420 feet away, the can of corn. So it was absolutely huge. And, you know, you never lose your love for your first major league ballpark, and Forbes Field was mine. And it was so unique, so many personal touches, so many aspects of personality to it. You had to walk from each clubhouse down a dirt path under the catacombs. You would see mice as big as dogs, rats, and it was a crazy ballpark, but I absolutely loved it.
Let me ask you about a teammate of yours, certainly one of the all-time greats, and of course he passed away prematurely. I'm talking about Roberto Clemente. Tell me about the first time you saw him.
I saw him for the first time in person when I went to spring training in 1961, the spring after they won the World Series. And, Ron, he was a guy you really didn't dare talk to. I mean, he carried himself with such a presence that you felt, as a young Pirate trying to make it to the big leagues or getting there as a rookie, that you had to validate yourself to let him know that you were good enough to be a teammate and be on the same team as him. In fact, a quick story. And that when I finally felt that I had gotten to that point, I went over to his locker, I'll never forget it, and I said, all right, Roberto, here's the deal. If I ever get traded, I'm going to pitch you inside because every National League pitcher pitches you away, and you hit 350 every year. And he said, Blas, I'm going to tell you one thing. You pitch me inside, I will hit the ball to Harrisburg. I said, okay, good talk. Yeah, and I just slunk back to my locker. But we became the best of friends, and I tell people that he had that presence, that he could turn a 10-year Major League veteran into a 10-year-old kid. You just wanted not take your eyes off him. He was fascinating to watch, and what an honor it was to be a teammate of his for 10 years. I watched everything he did. It was just a wonderful experience, and that's just a quirk of fate that me from Falls Village, Connecticut, and Roberto Clemente from Carolina, Puerto Rico, would cross paths and spend 10 years ago. How lucky was I?
We only have 2 minutes before we have to break here, but the one thing I remember as a kid going to a game on the weekends in Pittsburgh was his arm. I saw him, I don't know how he did it. I saw him make a throw after taking a catch over his head and turn around and throw the guy who was going from second to third out at third base.
Yeah, he did that. He did that exact same thing in the World Series. I don't know if that's the play you're referring to, but in the 71 series, he came over to the right field, caught a ball right on the chalk, did a 360, and threw a strike to Richie Hebner at third base. They did not get the out, but 40-some years later, I can vividly remember that particular catch and throw. And then in the same World Series, somebody from Baltimore hit a ball down on the warning track down the right field line, came around that warning track like a hockey puck going around the boards. He picked it up on one bounce on the warning track and threw a strike on one hop to Manny Sanguina at home plate. And the Orioles held the guy up at third wisely because he would have been out by a mile. And I don't use a computer, but I remember those two plays. They didn't result in outs, but I remember them to this day.
In about 45 seconds, his assimilation into the American culture because of where he came from, how hard, how difficult. We know about Jackie Robinson, but what was it like for him?
Well, it was difficult because he also had the language barrier too, and he's a very bright man, Ron, and he was frustrated at times because he was so smart that he knew some of the words he would use in English he could have used better in his native tongue of Spanish to convey what he was trying to think. So that frustrated him on occasion, but you never lost track that he was a very, very, very bright man, and he had that presence. I believe, had he lived, he would have become the governor of Puerto Rico, and that we'll never know. But he had that presence, he had that intelligence, and he had the clout and the admiration of all those people.
Steve Blass has joined us. 60 seasons. He has been a part of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization as a pitcher and a broadcaster. When we come back, we will talk about the 71 World Series and other aspects of his life, broadcasting and otherwise. We do that as we continue across the country and around the world with you on Sports Byline.
It has been said that everyone has a book in them. But do you have the time or the ability to write your book? Maybe you picked up some skills or had a life experience that you want to pass on in the form of a book to help others. Maybe you want to leave an autobiography for your family. Or maybe you've built a successful business and you want to share your story. At Dorrance Publishing Company, we have professional writers who can help turn your book idea into a finished manuscript quickly and affordably. A Dorrance ghostwriter can provide as much or as little help as you need to complete your book. You'll work directly with your ghostwriter to finish your book faster than you ever could on your own. It's easy to become a published author. Call Dorrance now to learn more. 800-485-6003. 800-485-6003. 800-485-6003. Call right now. That number is 800-485-6003. Want to fly somewhere? Looking for cheap flights or cheap tickets? Then call. That's right. Call the low-cost airline travel hotline now for prices so low we can't publish them anywhere. Low-cost airlines has all kinds of cheap travel deals. Fly domestically and save up to 75%. You can even fly internationally and save even more. Yes, fly anywhere in the world and save a lot of money on your plane tickets. We'll even save you money with cheap travel deals on hotels, rental cars, even complete travel packages. So don't book your tickets until you call us first for the absolute cheapest prices on U.S. and international airline tickets and hotels. Call right now for prices so low they can't be published. Travel experts are here 24/7 to help. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. That's 800-754-4531.
Attention business owners. Are you struggling while waiting for your customers to pay on their net 30, 60, or 90-day invoices? Can't get a business loan? Have no equity? Bad credit? Or maybe no credit at all? Then you need to call AmeriFactors right now. AmeriFactors will give you cash for your invoices and there's nothing to pay back. We simply buy your account receivables, and if those clients don't pay on the invoices, we take the loss. We give you funds based on your account receivables, not your credit. And 98% of all applicants are approved. It's that simple. With AmeriFactors, there's no more waiting for your customers to pay. We give you the funds up front, then we wait for your customers to pay us. Fund your business today. Call AmeriFactors right now.
800-847-1183. 800-847-1183. 800-847-1183. That's 800-847-1183.
This is America's Sports Talk Show, Sports Byline USA. Here's Ron Barr.
Steve Blass is with us. We're talking about his outstanding career, both as a baseball player, a pitcher, and also as a broadcaster as well. I want to touch on the past because I had a connection to the Pirates in a very interesting way. As I grew older and used to visit, as I said, my grandparents in Parkersburg, West Virginia, I had an opportunity in West Virginia where I was playing ball to go to Pittsburgh and play the Little Pirates. Now, a lot of people probably aren't even familiar with the Little Pirates. Give them a little bit of a history lesson.
Well, it was not officially an arm of the Pittsburgh Pirates, but the Little Pirates were kind of an amateur team that was assembled, and some of the scouts ran it, and it was run out of Forbes Field, and it was a bunch of young men, youngsters, teenagers, who they called the Little Pirates, and they really got a lot of attention because they got a lot of young, skilled players in the Pittsburgh area, and put them together and gave them a taste of professional instruction. And they were a pretty good organized ball team, and it was in existence for a lot of years. I don't know if it exists to this day. I would hope that it would, but it became kind of a story or an awareness aspect of the Pittsburgh Pirates coming down from the major league level. The Little Pirates had a good name in Pittsburgh because of the quality of baseball they played as youngsters.
Yeah, I agree. And that talent that was on that team, it was very obvious that while we were a pretty good team, amateur team as well, we weren't even close to their ability, and it certainly reflected in the way they played the game. Let me take you back to 1971. Of course, that was a World Series championship year, and you were very instrumental in the World Series by winning those two games. Again, you beat the Orioles in the seventh, the deciding game 2-1 on a 4-hitter. But take me through the season. What was the catalyst of the Pirates' success that season?
Well, I think, Ron, if you talk about the 71 team, you've got to talk about the organizational stockpile of talent in the late 60s coming up. The Al Olivers and Richie Hebners and Bob Robertsons and all those guys, Bob Moose and Bruce Keese and Manny Sanguin, Gene Kleins, all those guys. We had a loaded farm system, and it really came together in 70. We won our division. We got swept by the Reds that year, but then we came back in 71. Those guys were getting their feet on the ground, and it was just a surge, I believe, of talent, along with the veteran mix of Stargell, Clemente, and Mazeroski. With that young talent, it was the perfect mix, I believe. So we all kind of came into our own at that particular time. Doc Ellis had a fabulous first half of a season, 17-3, something like that. So we knew that we were emerging, and in 71 we got real good after having a taste of postseason play, getting beat by the Reds. But in 71, I had a miserable series because I had never pitched in postseason, and I fell into that trap of thinking because it was postseason, I had to be a different pitcher. I had to elevate my game. So I got that out of my mind. So by the time the World Series came, I realized that I had to kind of go with what got me there. And we were down 2-0. The Orioles were so great. They had won 100 games again coming off a World Series championship the year before, won the first 2 games of us, which is part of a 16-game winning streak to end the season, playoffs, and 2 against us. So we had to win the 3rd game, and I wasn't aware of their winning streak and all that stuff. I was aware we needed to win a ball game, and had the game of my life at that particular time, a 3-hitter in Game 3. And just a little sidelight, when you think of fathers and sons, after the last out, my father, a plumber from this little town in Falls Village, Connecticut, jumped off the top of the dugout roof, ran out of the field, and got into an interview with me and Tony Kubek on the first baseline. And I will, we all have fathers or have had fathers, and we all have those singular moments, Ron. I will never forget that as long as I live. My dad jumping down on the field to be with his kid after he won a World Series game. There ain't nothing better than that.
No, you're absolutely right. And as you look at that 71 series, you threw 2 complete game wins. You only allowed 7 hits and 2 runs in 18 innings. After the World Series was over, at what point did you have a full appreciation for what you had done in that series?
Well, that's a great question, because at the time you're so elevated, and you're not in shock, but you're just on cloud 9 until you sit back. And the more I go on in my years, I'm going to be 77 next week. The more I go on and I look back, I think I have more of an appreciation now as I go along in my later years than I did then. But I did put my feet up a couple times during that winter and said, wow. But back then complete games weren't rare, but nobody has pitched a 7th game, complete game win in the National League since. Now, over in the American League, of course, Jack Morris did it with a 1-0 shutout for 10 innings in 1990, but nobody's done it in the National League since. So I have that little thing I can hang my hat on. I'm so very proud of that. But pitching a 7th game with everything on the line against a great ball club and having a skinny lead and holding it and making it stand up for 9 innings. I've lived with that. I tell people, we watch that highlight film in our house every night before dinner. Then we have dinner, and then we watch it again after dinner. But to look back on that is just a dream fulfilled, because you have those dreams when you're 9 or 10 years old. How many people get a chance to live them? I cherish that, and I hang my hat on that I had that opportunity, and I was up to the day. So my buddies always say, well, you've made a living with 4 bad jokes in one afternoon in Baltimore. Somewhat right, but I will hang my hat on that.
After you retired, you joined the Pirates broadcasting team in 1983, and of course you've been there ever since. And I'm just wondering, from the broadcast booth over those years, how did you see the game that was different from being in the dugout or out on the field?
Well, you get a chance to look down on it, and it looks so orderly when you look down from a broadcast booth. But it plays out the same way. So many things have been thrown at the game, Ron. We could go chapter and verse of what's been thrown at the game of baseball, and it tells you how good the game is, that it continually survives. And I've got issues with the current game. I really do, and I will never bite the hand that fed me. But it's evolving into something that's a lot more generic than I thought it would be. So I love the game, and I think the ball game is the game itself is going to be just fine. All the statistics and analytics, I understand that. That's the world we live in. My gift, if you will, is to be able to recall the stories, because I think along with the analytics, you have to have a balance of the history of the game, the history of your city, the history of your organization, and the stories, because a lot about baseball is the stories. It's unique when you hold it against other sports, that stories are so much a part of our game. So the balance with that in the analytics is what I try to do. The stories, the recall, the Pirates that I've known and played with, the opponents, all that stuff. The differences are there. We are in a new era of baseball, but I still think the game is good enough to withstand and thrive with all of this that's going on now. But I will bring the stories, and most of them are true.
We only have 2 minutes left, Steve, and I always like to ask athletes or owners or anybody associated with sports, if if they have an opportunity and they think back, is there one particular moment that's kind of engraved on their mind about their life and about their career? Now, I know the 71 World Series certainly would be high, but in a personal sense, what is that one moment for Steve Blass?
Well, of course, you can't get beyond the walking off the field, jumping off the field after pitching a complete game of the World Series. That's the top of the mountain for me. I dreamed of that. But it's a stepping stone. Getting signed out of high school to live it, all I wanted to do was play baseball, and I got a chance to live it. The Pirates gave me that chance. But a first major league start, when you get called up and say, "Am I good enough? Am I good enough?" My first major league start was in May of 1964, and I pitched against Don Drysdale, and I won the game 4-2 with a complete game. And that told me, hey, maybe I am good enough to be a pitcher at this level or a baseball player at this level. And that's a validation that takes more than one game, but that's how it starts, that validation. So the dream of playing in the big leagues, winning a first game, and then knowing that, okay, you're good enough to be here, it validates everything you dreamed about around since you were 8 years old.
In about 30 seconds, do you think as you reflect back and are not, say, up in the broadcast booth, it'll be a hard transition for you?
Up in the broadcast booth, when I leave, no, because I'm going to come to ball games as a fan. I'm going to take my grandsons, and we're going to watch baseball. But I look back, I got to live my dream. How many people get a chance to do that? I never lose track of that. And my loyalties to the Pirates in the city of Pittsburgh are endless. They'll never, ever be challenged.
I want to thank you, Steve, not only for what you've done in baseball as an athlete, but as a broadcaster as well, and the gentleman that you've always been. You certainly deserve all the good things that have happened to you. Take care, my friend, and come back again and visit with us on Sports Byline.
Ron, I've enjoyed the visit thoroughly. Look forward to it.
Steve Blass, 60 seasons. He's been associated with the Pittsburgh Pirates organization as a pitcher and also a broadcaster. We continue with more of you at America's Sports Talk Show.
Bring on the April showers at Lumber Liquidators. We've got you covered with waterproof vinyl plank flooring, all on sale. Like malted oak vinyl plank for only $1.42. And all water-resistant laminate is on sale. Like new Desert Horizon Elm for only $1.79. Or refresh your home this spring with best-selling hardwood floors on sale. Do it yourself or have it installed for you. Plus, get special financing. Visit LumberLiquidators.com to find a store near you.
You have plenty of pictures in your home, but you've never seen anything like this before. Introducing Easy Tiles, the world's first photo tiles made of sleek and ultra lightweight glass. Easy Tiles makes it super simple. You use their exclusive app for iPhone and Android to upload as many photos as you like. Then they print them on tempered glass. Your order arrives on your doorstep in just days. And that's when the real fun begins, because with Easy Tiles, you'll transform your living space with a gallery wall that will amaze each and every guest. Easy Tiles are even simple to hang, no hammer and no nails. And because they're mounted on small risers, they appear to float on your wall. Easy to order, easy to hang, and guaranteed for life. Now you can save 30% on any size order, plus get free shipping on orders of 4 or more. Just download the free Easy Tiles app at EasyTiles.com and turn your best memories into beautiful glass wall art. Plus, save big now with this special radio offer. That's EasyTiles.com.
Taming the briar patch, mowing the lawn, trimming the Yeti. Whatever you call it, it's about time we talk about manscaping. Guys, you manscape, right? You know, keep things trimmed and fresh below the waist. 9 out of 10 women of all ages prefer their guy manscaped. But you got to have the right tools for the jewels, or you'll look like you used a machete. Pop over to manscaped.com and check out their perfect package. Not that perfect package. The Manscaped Perfect Package 2.0 that was a smash hit on Shark Tank. It features the lawnmower, a precision trimmer engineered for below-the-waist grooming. Its skin-safe technology means no more accidental nicks and burns. Check out the lawnmower and the amazing grooming and hygiene products that come with your perfect package. What's that saying? Trim the shrubs and the tree stands taller? Get 20% off plus free shipping today. Visit manscaped.com and use promo code RING. Again, use promo code RING at manscaped.com. Manscaped.com.
And now, a page from the diary of Flo.
Dear Diary, the ghost is back.
This house is protected through Progressive, but that doesn't mean it's not haunted. How else would you explain that radiator-like clanking sound? Or the moon-colored light in the hallway that's gone by morning? Maybe he never bundled home and auto, and he's doomed to suffer an eternity without the savings.
Save an average of 17% on car insurance when you bundle home and auto through Progressive.
What was that wind-like sound? Oh, right, the wind.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
This is America's Sports Talk Show, Sports Byline USA. Here's Ron Barr.
Dabo Swinney joins us on Sports Byline, head football coach at Clemson, and he has led the Tigers to 2 national championships, including this past season with a win over Alabama 44-16. And his first national championship came in 2017 when he led the Tigers to a 35-31 comeback win over Alabama. I'm just wondering, Dabo, after the championship game was over with here this past year, I'm just wondering, as you had a chance to sit back and just reflect on it, what was it that meant the most to you about that season?
Oh, my goodness, so many things, but probably more than anything is just the fact that we were able to, just experience a moment like that with just an amazing group. That group of young people were so special, unbelievably committed. The leadership was amazing. I knew last spring that we really had a chance to be special. And I told them in early October, I said, I think we've got the best team in the country, and we have an opportunity to prove it. And, it was amazing. I mean, they won 13 of the 15 games by 20-plus points, and it was just a dominant football team, and just the fun that we had along the way, their consistency and their preparation, the true appreciation of the journey that they had, just the love and respect that they had for one another. I mean, from my seat, it was just awesome to watch, see such a talented group of young people, so selfless, and just absolutely love every second of what we did. I mean, they didn't wish it away. They truly just enjoyed the entire journey that we went on, and to see them finish the way they did, and all the way back to our first meeting, Cleveland Furr, one of our D linemen, he asked me, he said, how many wins do we need to be the winningest senior class in college football history? And I said, well, that'd be 15. And I said, and by the way, there's never been a 15 in our team. So, so they had big dreams and big goals, and they weren't afraid to work for it. And to see them achieve that, and to know that, they're the first modern-day team to do that, and to beat Notre Dame and Alabama to do it, it was just special. It was a special moment, and something that, I'm so glad I'll be able to share, with those guys forever.
You talk about Notre Dame, and, of course, you talk about Alabama, and those were, key moments. But I really thought, as I observed and thought back over the season, Dabo, that the Syracuse comeback win was really an important win, because I think it refocused your team and said, hey, we just can't walk out on the field and take anything for granted. And I thought that really steeled the team in the right direction. Am I correct in that observation?
Yeah, and not so much as refocusing. It was just that the way that was the week that Kelly Bryant had decided to step away, just made a change at quarterback, and so there was a lot of drama that we had to deal with during the week. And our team was really good, and we started off really good, but just a little over first quarter, Trevor Lawrence gets knocked out of the game, and so now we essentially have what was a 14 quarterback basically getting his first snaps, and it was just a mess early on, and we got behind, but we came back to the second half, and the result, the fight, the way the defense led, the way Travis Etienne took over the game, along with our offensive line to allow Chase Brummels, our now quarterback, who, like I said, hadn't played, to settle in. And then by the time the fourth quarter rolled around, he had really gotten his wind on him a little bit and made a couple of throws, and then he made a huge fourth and sixth play. But it definitely strengthened us, and because there had been some adversity that week and some drama and things like that, and it just showed the love of our team, and it showed how together they were. and just their will to win. I mean, just the will to win and to overcome that adversity. And to be honest with you, that's really kind of the last time that they were, really challenged to that point. And so that was no question. That was the confidence boost that team needed, because it proved that Chase Bryce could win. And then we got to end up getting Trevor back the next week, and that was his first start, and he took off from there.
Can you read your team pretty well, especially before a big game like a championship game? Because everybody was surprised. It was 44-16. I don't think anybody saw that coming. What did you see as they were getting ready to take the field for that game?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think there was any way possible that our guys could lose the game, and it's easy to say that now, but I told the team I thought we could win by a couple of touchdowns if we just took care of the ball. I thought we were just a better team, and in every facet, and I knew there was going to be a huge challenge, but our leadership, the experience that we had, I just felt like that. We were by far the better team. I had nobody would have thought that it would have gone like it did. And sometimes in those games, they get away. The momentum can turn in a couple of turnovers, and we're not 44-16 better than Alabama. But I did think we could win that game by double digits, and I thought we were clearly the better team, and I felt great about our team. They just had this resolve to them that you could just feel. And, I don't think it would have mattered who we would play that day. I just think that team was on a mission, and there was no way they were going to be denied. And they were a team in every sense of the word, and they just played with their heart, and played together, played smart, played relentless, and just got control of the game early, and just didn't let it go. So I was surprised at 44-16, but I was not surprised that it was not a close game.
I remember the last time we talked, we also talked about Jerry Rice. You wanted to have people like Jerry Rice maybe come and talk to your team. Indeed, that happened the weekend before the game on Monday night. I'm just wondering what that meeting was like, what the look in the faces of the players, and what did he say to them?
Yeah, it was really neat. I mean, Larry Kirksey is a guy that was one of my coaches at Alabama, and also one of my coworkers I ended up coaching with him. But he coached Jerry for about 8 years with the 49ers, and being out there, I reached out to Jerry and I reached out to Larry and asked if he could kind of set that up, and Jerry agreed to do it. And one of the reasons Jerry agreed to do it is because of his relationship with Dwight Clark, who played at Clemson, and so we mainly, our hotel was basically almost in the parking lot of the stadium there where the 49ers play, where we played the game, and they have a statue of Dwight Clark out front of that stadium, and here we are coming to play there, and Dwight Clark had obviously just passed recently, and but Jerry Rice came, and it was a surprise for the team. And he just did an amazing job, and he said that. He said, one of the reasons I'm doing this is to honor my friend, Dwight Clark, and to just pay my respects to him. I know he would love nothing more than to know that I'm over here talking to his Tigers before this game. And he just talked about, some of the big games that he was in, and how kind of his journey and his mindset, and how he was able to play as long as he did, and handle all the success, handle the failure, be ready for the big games, and having a routine that he believed in. And so it was a really good talk for our guys, and then obviously we lived in a few so I got a chance to meet him, and so that was really, really cool. And then ironically, we won the game on January I guess it was the 7th, and January the 8th is Dwight Clark's birthday. So it was a really neat moment to be able to achieve something like that in that stadium, and against a great Alabama team, and especially with the relationship with Dwight Clark with Clemson and San Francisco.
Clemson, the first college football team since the 1800s to finish 15-0. It's never been done before. Let's look ahead to this upcoming season. You got a lot of talent at wide receiver and running back. I tell you what, I look at this team, I think back about last year and the players that I saw, I just shake my head. It's an amazing team. How do you see the squad?
Yeah, we're structured a little differently than we were last year. And that last year we were just an incredibly experienced defense. So many veterans, especially up front, and then offensively, we were kind of growing into some new people, some new roles, and whereas this year we pretty much got everybody back on offense. We'll be a handful on offense if we can stay healthy, and then because we're very skilled at receiver and running back, and then obviously Trevor and Chase at quarterback are just outstanding. We actually have some really experienced depth at quarterback, which is something we haven't had in a while. That can really play at a high level, and then defensively we're just built differently in that our leadership and our experience is at linebacker and in the secondary. And whereas last year we were young in the secondary, and so we've got good experience and depth there, but we are truly just babies up front in that D-line. I mean, just some really young guys. I love our talent, but we're very inexperienced. So we've got a lot to do to grow that group up. The good news is I think we've got the right guys. Those guys are getting better. They just finished up a really good spring, and I think by the time August 29th gets here, we'll be ready to play winning football, but they're gonna have to grow up in a hurry, and so it'll be fun to watch it all develop. But that's what makes college football fun. Is every year you kind of have to start over because it's a different type of challenge. Because some guys are back, some guys are gone, and new guys come in, different roles for some of the guys that are maybe still here but stepping up into bigger roles. And so it's a lot of fun, but we got our kicker back, got our punter back, and, I think we'll have a chance to be a very competitive team once again.
You've always been a top-notch recruiter, and I'm just wondering what's the secret sauce from Dabo Swinney when he goes into a recruit's home?
No secret sauce other than just, we've got a 10-year track record now. I mean, we don't walk in and talk about what we hope to do. We have a lot to talk about as far as what we've done. And and then just being transparent and be honest. And I really am focused on the right fit. And so we're very transparent because we want guys that come here to know exactly what they're getting into and what the expectations are, what they're going to be held accountable to what standard of that we have in place here. And so just transparency, consistency, and a 10-year track record at the same place, So the continuity that we offer, I think, is unique.
We've got about a minute and a half left, and as you know, we're heard worldwide on the American Forces Network. That's 500 stations in 177 countries, and I can tell you, having visited Iraq and Afghanistan and Guantanamo and doing the show down there, I always get your name. When are you going to have Dabo on? I'm sure you'd like to send a message out to those men and women.
I would. I mean, I just think that's amazing. First of all, it's an honor to be on your show, and I'm just thankful that there is a show like this that can reach out to all of our troops, all the men and women that just are away and are sacrificing and serving this country and providing us the greatest country to live in on the planet. And so it's just an honor, and I just say thank you to all of them and all the countries and stations that cover this show. I just say thank you, and stay safe, and we appreciate the all that you do to serve this country, and we love you, and can't wait for you guys to get back over here, and hopefully we can play some good football along the way to put some smiles on a bunch of y'all's faces if you get an opportunity to listen or watch some games along the way.
Well, I know the Clemson program has done an awful lot. You had a soldier that was in Afghanistan in one of the toughest fights ever who was on this show one time, and he talks so vividly about that experience, and I get goosebumps as I talk about it right now. And you and, of course, the Clemson program have been very supportive of the soldiers. Dabo, you're welcome here anytime. Have a good season, and we'll catch up with you again.
Yes, sir. Hey, always appreciate you having me, and God bless to all of you out there listening.
Take care. Dabo Swinney again, head football coach at Clemson. Boy, has he done a great job. He's led the Tigers to 2 national championships, 2 within the last 3 years, including this past season. Had a dominating win over Alabama, 44-16. And, of course, he won his first national championship in 2017, beating Alabama 35-31. We've got you on America's Sports Talk Show.
Rebuild or replace transmission, $3,200. Anti-lock brake system, $1,000. Rebuild or replace engine, $2,400. Truth is, once your manufacturer's warranty runs out, it's all on you. Every last cent. Get protection for covered repairs with a vehicle service contract from Toco Warranty. Unlike other companies, with Toco, there's no down payment, and the monthly payments are really affordable. Not sure how long you're keeping your car? At Toco, you can pay as you go. Keep your hard-earned cash and call Toco Warranty right now at 800-222-2313 to save big money on covered auto repairs. Prices vary by vehicle, but for about the cost of a tank of gas per month, a Toco plan has your back on expensive covered car repairs. Monthly payments are very affordable. Get your free quote now. Call Toco at 800-222-2313. That's 800-222-2313. 800-222-2313. Cancellation fee may apply, subject to eligibility. Not available in Missouri and Washington. Waiting period and deductible apply. Coverage provided and administered by Warrantech Corporation or its affiliates. Not affiliated with any manufacturer or dealership. Visit TocoWarranty.com for complete terms and conditions.
Where do you want to go on a vacation or honeymoon? The Caribbean, Europe, Hawaii, Mexico? How about Disney or a cruise? At Superior Cruise and Travel, we've got you covered. We'll assign you your own travel concierge. They'll help you design a custom vacation plan that you can't find online. And the service is completely free. You can't compare the value of this to any other online travel company. We can help you plan a custom vacation anywhere in the world. We even offer payment plans with no credit card required. Now you pay off your vacation on your time schedule. Call now and mention the promo code RADIO and save up to $500. Book your custom trip. Call Superior Cruise and Travel now and talk to one of the highest rated travel agencies in the country with a 5-star A+ online rating.
800-570-9631. 800-570-9631. 800-570-9631. That's 800-570-9631.
If you or a loved one is suffering from a physical or emotional condition that has left you unable to work, then listen carefully. Take this number down. 800-593-7491. That's 800-593-7491. When you call, you'll speak with a Social Security disability expert and get a free evaluation to see if you may qualify for disability insurance benefits from the U.S. government. That's right, a monthly cash payment paid directly to you from the Social Security Administration. Whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied disability benefits, call now. The disability attorneys at Pinnacle Disability can help you build your case, file an appeal, and represent you at no upfront cost to you. Don't wait another minute to see if you may qualify for your Social Security disability benefits. Call Pinnacle Disability Group at 800-593-7491 for your free case evaluation. That's 800-593-7491. 800-593-7491. Call now.
This is America's Sports Talk Show, Sports Byline USA. Here's Ron Barr.
That's going to wrap up this hour of Sports Byline. Doesn't get much better than this, as Dabo Swinney was with us, head coach at Clemson, and he has led the Tigers to 2 national championships, 2 in the last 3 years. And, of course, the last one was a win over Alabama, 44-16. And he is one of the all-time great college football recruiters. Everybody tells us that he does the best job in college football. We talked some baseball with Steve Blass. For 60 years, Steve has been a part of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization as both a pitcher and a broadcaster. He pitched 2 games in the 71 World Series, and he won them both. And the last one was the 7th and deciding game. I'm Ron Barr. Good to have you along for the ride as we continue across the country and around the world with you on Sports Byline.
Hi, this is Rick Tittle. Make sure to tune into my show, Titillating Sports, every Monday through Friday
And that'll be 3 hours from 9 to noon on the West Coast, noon to 3 on the East. Once again, check me out, Titillating Sports, every weekday on Sports Byline.
You're listening to the Sports Byline USA Broadcast Network.
USA Radio News with Chris Barnes.
A day after a massive fire damages the iconic Notre Dame Cathedral.
Where the rubber always meets the road, I think. Actually, I'm not even sure what that means.
Heartland Newsfeed Radio Network, live at heartlandnewsfeed.com.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,285, silver at $14.94, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,085. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, a group dedicated to regime change in Venezuela held a secret meeting last week focused on overthrowing the country's government. That's according to a report from Activist Post, citing a report from the Gray Zone Project. Journalist Max Blumenthal Sunday revealed a list of meeting attendees he obtained over the weekend from a source. The list shows that the event, held at the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington, D.C., boasted as attendees members of the State Department, the Colombian and Brazilian embassies, members of the Venezuelan opposition, and other officials in the American national security state. The meeting comes after multiple failed attempts to depose the government of President Nicolas Maduro, who was elected in 2018. The President Donald Trump administration has made no secret of their intent to see Maduro gone, but thus far, nothing has worked. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. The world was transfixed Monday on horrific images of Paris's Notre Dame Cathedral engulfed in flames, as they were broadcast across social media. Global news outlets in nearly every country were live streaming the devastating fire across platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. The Mind Unleashed reports that those watching the live stream broadcast on YouTube saw something strange. An excerpt from an Encyclopedia Britannica entry regarding the World Trade Center bombing on September 11, 2001, accompanying the footage. And while the text box may seem like a complete non sequitur, it was actually a disclaimer meant to discourage the spread of what YouTube's algorithms mistakenly flagged as a conspiracy theory or fake news video. As it turned out, the columns of smoke rising from the Gothic cathedral bore a startling resemblance to those of 9/11, and YouTube's anti-conspiracy software was quick to kick into gear. The text boxes were introduced to YouTube last year as a new tool that would lead to a cessation of fake news videos going viral on the platform. A police officer from the Bossier City, Louisiana Police Department was arrested in December for filming unspeakable acts with animals. 38-year-old Terry Yetman was charged with multiple counts of sexual abuse of animals, producing the evidence himself, including filming sex with his own police canine. Now, the decorated cop has also been charged with 31 counts